is it's bad when you don't do something that you're supposed to. But it's much worse when you say you're going to do it and then don't do it. When you're talking big. That's disgusting in the sight of Allah. And the word disgust maqt is a practice of the ancient Arabs. Before Islam, a man would have, many wives. The father would have many wives, and he would divorce some of his extra wives, or the father would die, and the son would marry his stepmothers. And this was considered disgusting, but they did it anyway. This was called maqt. Allah uses that word. That's how disturbing it is that things come out of your mouth that have nothing to do with action. So then the question then becomes, what is the action we gotta take? What's the action? And the action comes in the 4th ayah, where Allah does talk about fighting, but He gives a prerequisite. It's actually an incredible ayah. My entire intention to share this khutbah with you was this ayah. Inna Allah yuhibbu alladhina yuqatiluna fi sabilihi safa. No doubt Allah is the one who loves those who fight in His path in rows. Saffan, rows. Allah added a new qualification. It's not enough that you want to fight. It's not enough that your intentions are good. It's not enough that you're brave. That's not enough. If you truly mean what you say, you will show me discipline. Saffan. قيد الكلام بالصف. يعني لم يقل إن الله يحب الذين يقاتلون في سبيله. Allah loves those who fight in His path. No. إن الله يحب الذين يقاتلون في سبيله صفا. They have to show that. What happened at Uhud? Some people left their position. They weren't saf. They weren't sufuf. Allah is saying your intentions, even if they're good, are not enough. You need to demonstrate the highest form of discipline. You have to demonstrate the highest form of discipline. Now, this is food for thought for you, because we only have 5 minutes and I'll be done. If the Muslims were not a military, they were not an organized army with years of training and military exercises, and if you know anything about the military, there's training for years. You wake up at a certain time, you eat at a certain time, you dress, your sergeant walks in, you all stand up, there's a code you have to follow, and it gets drilled in your head. That regiment gets drilled in your head year after year after year after year, so you're ready for the real thing. So when your battalion commander, your lieutenant, whoever says go, then you just go immediately. There's no gap between the issue of the command and the execution, because that's life and death. And it cannot happen unless you have the highest form of discipline. Now the question is, if the Muslims 2 days before Uhud, they're not an organized military, you think they can in 2 days become saffan? They could just become an organized military? They can't. And then Allah gave it an analogy. He said, كَأَنَّهُمْ بُنْيَانٌ مَرْصُوصٌ. It is as if they are a wall that is cemented together with melted copper or melted lead. Now, I want you to know this. This is one of the most incredible analogies in the Quran. You cannot become that because it takes time to pour the lead. It takes time to get all the bricks. It takes time to size all the bricks, or even, to chisel them, to make them the right size, to fit where they're going to fit, to build the foundation, to put the wall. How tall should the wall be? How thick should it be? If it's too thin and you build it too tall, it's going to tip over. If you put it too heavy of a stone too high up, it's going to crack the other ones. If there's a small gap, you can't put a big stone there. You have to put a small stone there. What is this one analogy that they're a building that is leaded together is actually saying you are not in a position to fight until you as a community become completely and utterly disciplined, like the walls in a building, or the bricks in a building. Until that happens, you're not ready. Don't even talk big. First show me bunyanun marsus, then we'll talk. That's the idea. And the thing I want you to, just as I leave you, I want you to think about this. The analogy of a building that's been leaded together that Allah gave. كَأَنَّهُمْ بُنْيَانٌ مَرْصُوصٌ. There's a brick at the bottom of the wall. There's a brick at the top of the wall. Those two bricks are not connected to each other. They have no connection to each other. The brick at the bottom of the wall is connected to the bricks that are on the side of it, on the bottom of it, all around it, isn't it? So it has to play its role down here. That one has to play its role up there. So if you truly want to be part of a unified wall, you need to demonstrate unity in your locality. You can't say, I over here need to be united with those over there. How come we're not united? And you're a wiggly piece of the wall down here. You understand? What do Muslims complain of? We complain the Ummah is not united. We're not united with the Muslims in Africa and the Muslims in Indonesia. Are you united with the Muslims in Gaithersburg? You united with the Muslims inside this hall? You united with the Muslims you grew up with, or your friends, like in your family? When Allah says "Bunyanun marsus," like understand the analogy. There's something very profound being given here. If you can't demonstrate that kind of discipline at the most localized level, if the brick is not doing its job, if the lead is not doing its job, then the building's gonna collapse. Then there's no building. When he says Allah loves, he didn't just say Allah loves those who fight. Fighting is a later problem. The building is the first problem. That building that's ready to stand in front of a storm, it's not gonna collapse.